As a Monster Hunter fan since I first played World, I am goddamn hooked. I've already made it to the end game and I've already enjoyed the fuck out of this game and I still enjoy it. Like many people have said, this game is a massive step up from World, and it also takes elements from Rise with some mechanics, which is pretty goddamn neat. This just makes Monster Hunter Wilds just such an incredibly monstrous game that many Monster Hunter fans are going fucking nuts over. From its customization, the way you feel so drippy and full of aura and cutscenes and gameplay, to the superb and clean combat, there's no wonder this game is such a goddamn success. I love the fact that the customization alone has been making people want to play the game, create a character that looks badass, and use them just to kill monsters. I've seen people even make their significant other in the game, which is pretty goddamn cute. I will say the franchise has now hit the mainstream now more than ever, which, it has its growing pains, and I'll discuss that later on in the video. Now, I want to review this game, telling you about my experiences and my hunts and just my full-on thoughts on the game. All right, let's talk story, right? The story all right, guys, chill out. Chill out. The story is serviceable and makes sense. Characters are good and I don't hate anybody. Some people are really annoyed and hate Nata, but he is a kid, so he gets a pass. Like, I don't give a shit. He's still learning about the world, and even in the end game, he realizes what's important, right? So, the story focuses on the guild dispatching hunters on an expedition to investigate a land that was thought of to be uninhabited for 1,000 years, of course, right? It's always 1,000 years, 10,000 years, right? It's never like, I don't know, 53 years or some shit, right? But yeah, you along with the whole expedition team makes your way in and contact the locals, help them by killing monsters, and find out what happened with the ancient civilization that was destroyed by artificial monsters they themselves created. Whoa, interesting, right? Ultimately, you would have to go ahead and put down a bunch of artificial monsters, and then at some point the frenzy virus makes its fucking return, and you would have to go ahead and fight some frenzied monsters, right? The last mission has you go ahead and kill a frenzied and powered up Arkveld at the request of Nata, who by this time understands the way the world works and preserving the balance of the environment and nature. Again, the story is serviceable. No real complaints from my part. It's just, it could have been better, but I never really cared much about Monster Hunter for its fucking story, right? Some of the lore can go crazy, like when it comes to Fatalis and stuff, which is very, very interesting, right? But, they don't really get into it in the first, first half of the game, right? From low rank to high rank. They don't really get that much into it until like the expansions and the more deeper end game stuff, right? But yeah, we got a bunch of interesting monsters, guardian monsters, the fucking artificial ones, tempered ones, frenzied ones. The shit's nuts out there in nature, man. Like, if you're not careful, you'll get fucking shit on like quick. I think the assortment of monsters they gave us along with the variants are pretty goddamn cool. Spider monsters, monkey monsters, plenty of wyverns to fight, and plenty of goddamn, horrific bastards out there. But I will say, like, there's no elder dragons yet, so that's kind of a bummer, right? We have like semi elder dragons, I guess, if you could say. Like, they're halfway there. They're halfway there, like Gormagala. The maps for the games are pretty goddamn dope too. The desert, the forest, the oil basin, the ice cliffs, and the ruined city are all unique and interesting maps, full of life, full of monsters, and just full of goddamn fun, right? Especially the forest with the woodwoods. God, they're damn near my favorite part of this goddamn game. I would love for the guild to issue a training class for the locals, and we see guild approved hunts from locals who are trying to fight monsters, and you can join in at any time for limited rewards, of course, just to make the world a little bit more alive, right? These are just my 2 cents, to add into the game. Speaking of hunts, I think it's really nice how easy it is to enter a hunt. Plenty, there's plenty of missions, great profit from the rewards, which I will say, like, I'm blessed a little bit too much, right? There's really no super grind to the game unless you're just having really bad luck, right? I normally get everything I need within like one to three hunts, right? Depending on my RNG. Um, the only issue I really see, um, a lot of the time, right, is that it's really hard to play with friends, and hard is probably like not the right word. The way, like it's more annoying, right? Like you have to like create like a hunter list and send them like your hunter ID and shit like that, and you got, and like you add them to like your little list to keep track of them and invite them, and it's too overly complicated for people like me who just join SOSs and join people because I don't really have that many friends that play this game, and the ones that do were on a different goddamn time schedule, which fucking sucks. But yeah, other than that, something I did have to get used to was the slightly different inventory setup, which with a couple of tweaks here and there, you'll be fine. Now, getting materials is a bit different than World. First, let me explain. Right. As soon as you beat Chapter 3, you will have different people from the different villages and stuff that you can speak to help gather materials and stuff for you. Which is, it's cool, I guess. I'm not going to lie. I like the resource gathering for the NPCs from World a bit better, as you can increase your yield so much more there, right? It's pretty lackluster, but it's serviceable now, right? And after a good amount of hunts, you get some stuff. But I would prefer world setup, or even goddamn Rise's setup, because you can actually upgrade that and stuff like that, right? That's what I would have liked, but it's whatever, right? It would have been cool if we can actually like gear up the team and send them out there to make gathering stuff easier and more plentiful. It could be cool. It could be cool. It would be cool to see like these squats out there in the field too. These little things could help add to the world, add to your investment in the world, cool stuff like that. But yeah, let's get into the actual gear and weapons, the fighting. God damn, I just love the drip in this game. Like, man, the drip goes crazy, and the aura moments with it just go so goddamn good together. Like PB&J, just so goddamn good, so good. And I've mentioned it. I can't speak. I've mentioned it before that I've loved the customization. It is so damn good. Like I've seen some aura farming designs on TikTok all over the goddamn place, and I've seen some goddamn. I've been saying goddamn a lot this whole recording session. This is fucking weird, but it's fine. I've seen some really hilarious ones, right? Like Handsome Squidward to other meme characters, right? It's so good. My wife got interested in creating a hunter and a palico, and we did it recently, and it was just such a fun time to see my wife customize and gush over it. Like it's just great. It's just a wonderful time. I would go ahead and suggest to do with your significant other who loves to customize and decorate. I do love the weapons in this goddamn game. I'm an all-arounder, and I play with basically everything, but I prefer the great sword and shield, hunting horn, and switch axe. That's what I personally revolve around. I think all the weapons look great, definitely distinct, and with the whole wound exploitation mechanic, the moves to take advantage of them just look so goddamn dope for all of them, right? Especially the dual blades, right? I think one of the funniest things was like the mount. The mount for the insect glaive is funny as hell, because you're just going ahead and rolling, like digging the blade into their head or something, and you're just rolling around, just fucking them up. It's just so stupid, but it's so fun looking too. The movement in the game is good too. Pretty standard for a Monster Hunter game, with the added caveat of these little cool little guys, the Secret, that are basically like your dogs from Rise, but are a little bit more advanced. Like they carry an extra weapon for you, they carry extra gear. They're cool little guys, right? There's even like better run animations. I've always been interested in run animations ever since I was young, mainly because of Assassin's Creed. Because back then, I always thought it was cool. Like you're just running pretty cool, just doing your thing. That's something I've had since forever. So I hope I'm not weird about that, right? The animations and routes taken by the Secret are so fun to watch, and it just adds to that cinema feeling, that cinema factor when beating the fuck out of monsters. Speaking of beating the fuck out of the monsters, the cinema moments you can farm in this game is amazing. From the weak points to the offset attacks, the goddamn beam clashes, the power struggles between you and the monster, so good. It's so fulfilling, so satisfying when done right. All this makes you feel like so much like a badass. But with that being said, you can actually get absolutely dogged on if you're not paying attention. Like, especially with like the hardest boss, I think for right now, it's probably Tempered Gore Magala. I love that patient zero bastard, but goddamn, man. And even like with like other monsters too that are relatively powerful, you can get pretty shit on, right? Like, I've seen people jump into battle only to get smacked the fuck away, and I've seen Dahad completely just obliterate an entire team because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing somehow. But I digress. It's crazy, right? Like the animations of getting smacked away and getting injured and stuff like that. It's crazy accurate and just adds to the holy fuck. This is real. It's to the point where I prefer sometimes the NPC party. The NPC party members, because when they get shit on, it doesn't cost me a fucking hunt. Also, speaking of the NPC party members, they are pretty goddamn busted, and most of the time are more reliable than actual goddamn people, which is crazy and all. Because these guys just don't die; they just sit there and they tank damage. There's one that has the lance, there's one that has the hammer, there's one that has the heavy bow gun, and it's just a nice balanced assortment of bastards going ahead and fighting a monster, right? Depending on what the fuck you pick, it's going to be a good time. And they even heal you and help you out, and it's good. It's actually good. So for people that prefer being alone and doing single player stuff, it's not a bad choice to go ahead and just have them come along. Wilds is also going to be constantly updating new monsters, a gathering hub, an actual mess hall for hunters to eat at, and eventually an expansion that gives us master rank and elder dragons and so many much more crazy shit that's going to go on, right? Personally, a lot of people are going to fucking hate me. I want to go up against Fatalis again, red or white Fatalis, Guardian Fatalis. I don't give a shit. I just need these monsters to be put in the game now, or just put the whole community in a goddamn chokehold for such a long time, right? I think a lot of criticism with this game is how it feels easy, and I think it's because a lot of people are just so used to master rank for like 2 fucking games, fucking Wilds and Rise. Of course, a lot of people are gonna think like, oh man, this shit's easy, this shit is fucking easy, right? Like a lot of monsters like we already know, and we've already had like a spider monster in Rise, so a lot of people aren't really like going crazy over that. I think the only real unique one is like the guardian, like the main guardian one from, I honestly forget his name, because that I probably only fought it like once or twice, because I really don't give a fuck about that monster. But that's only the real unique one that I know. um but yeah, it's just like, to me it just feels like a lot of these people um forget that Monster Hunter was like this sort of niche-ish game, and it's not anymore, and a lot of people are having this higher skill ceiling than the game can provide to for monsters to reach, besides a select few, maybe like fucking 3, right? um Hunters, especially like the newer ones who come to the game without playing with others that don't really know how to interact with a more chill community, can be seen as bullies or toxic. A similar issue with PvE games, an example could be Helldivers 2, where you can meet some pretty toxic people. Some people just don't know how to act or cooperate with other players, and that's like, that's fine, I guess. It's bound to happen, right? But it just still sucks to see like the community get dragged into the mud because of one asshole. Like, it sucks. Even with these complaints and issues from the hunters, the game is pretty much received, pretty well. Honestly, I see a lot of like mixed reviews and stuff like that, mainly because of like performance and it's too easy and all this crap, right? It's kind of short. It's not really short, it's just the beginning of something greater, right? A lot of people forget that World wasn't that crazy either. Like it probably took much more much more time to deal with monsters, probably because they had like to deal with elder dragons and much more crazier monsters that took a longer to deal with because there wasn't the mechanics there to deal with them faster, or you didn't really like, it was much more slower of course in Worlds, but I think it was fine as time progressed into Iceborne. I think it got a little bit faster, but there was definitely like a little bit of a slowness to the game, right? For me, it's still a pretty good goddamn game. My favorite like music in the game is Ray Dow, like so fucking fire. It just reminds me of the clip of that dude playing a piano on the beach while the piano is on fucking fire. Like it's just so goddamn good, right? That's the music I think of when I think of this game. But now, what do I want for the future of the game itself? I would love for an expansion for this game to focus on the research facilities and abandoned area where they initially did their first testings and experiments and kept certain monsters there as they weren't perfected enough to be controlled fully, right? It would be nuts if they just tried to create a Guardian Fatalis. Would be crazy. I highly doubt they're gonna go ahead and go that far. Would be really fun if they made new monster variants, calling them Chimera, or just completely new, man-made generated like homunculite monsters that go against nature themselves, right? Plenty of ideas that could be used since they have introduced this concept of crazy ass science making the impossible possible. But yeah, those are just my few ideas on the expansion and the concepts for it. These are my thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds. I give Monster Hunter Wilds like an 8 to a 9. Like I'm leaning more towards like an 8.5 because the game does have issues, like performance issues, right? Even on console, there's some pop in here and there, for especially when you're creating a new weapon. Like the textures aren't really there until they pop like a second later. For PC, like dear God, some of you bastards, some of you bastards. You guys got some issues. I'm sorry. It might be like your actual PC not being the best, and it can be the actual game. The game does feel easier compared to other games, especially with the mechanics given to us to help damage the monster more and more frequently, and with more cinematic moments and stuff like that. But I would rather have cinematic power fantasy moments that are fun than the alternative. Yes, the story was not the best, but it was okay to help give us an excuse to hunt monsters and explore. The characters are fine. I'm sure plenty of you fucking freaks who love the handler and Gemma can attest to that. I'm not being too harsh on the game because performance and visual bugs can be fixed with patches for the most part, unless your PC is, I'm sorry, Chiefs, showing their age, right? And the lacking of content will be remedied as time goes on. So I think an 8.5 for now is good. Like, we will really have to get more critical and in detail when the expansion comes. Like for me, I just wanted to complement the whole experience because that's what the whole franchise is about. The experience of a hunter in the wilds. Cheesy as shit, I know. But what do you guys think of the game? What do you love? What do you like hate about Monster Hunter Wilds? Like, do you love it overall, hate it overall, okay with it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I will go ahead and add my hunter ID here if you guys want to go ahead and add me up, and we can go on hunts together. But yeah, see you guys next time. Peace.